All right, good afternoon. We are just minutes away from it really kind of being good evening. So good afternoon while we can still get that in. My name is A Load of Sarcasm.
And I'm the cat.
Yeah, you are. All right, so we are here for game 11. It's going to be Antwerp Roller Derby taking on Providence Roller Derby. Antwerp so far 2-0. Providence
2-0.
2-0. So one of these teams is going to sweep, and we already just saw that Burning River won, so they had a clean sweep 3-0. And I think that happens a lot here at the Siege. It's a lot of 3-0 tournaments for these teams here. But we'll go ahead and we'll get into introductions. I'll start off with Antwerp Roller Derby. From Antwerp, Belgium, One Love Roller Dolls. We've got number 07, Cherry Mosh Pit. Number 10, Majin Buu. Number 13, Evil X. Number 2, Freckles. 250, Knick Mops. 357, Dark Pistol. 50, Snow Black. 85, CC Titmouse. 89, Hipshot. Number 9, Hunter. 91, Lieutenant Savage. 93, Dr. G. And it's all anchors and Queen Yosine on the bench.
And on the other side of the track is Providence Roller Derby. You're going to be skating in the white with the blue and red trim. They have 00 Puma Thurman, 013 Monsoon, 042 Flying King, number 101 Huracan, 1216 Jane Ostentatious, 1230 Princess Sparklefist, 16 Boone's Harm, 17 Goldie, 1860 Oakley, 2468 Sis Boom Bonnie, 26 their captain Shreddy Roosevelt, number 31 Smashley Olsen, 321 Retro Rocket, 350 Susie Homewrecker, 40 Milo Life, and number 917 La Biblioreca. Coaches are Hot Sauce, Alexi Lawless, and Raquel Wells.
All right. So I'm so interested to see how this is going to work out. I know that Antwerp was definitely watching Providence in the last game that they played a little bit earlier today.
You mean the most dramatic fashion of finish in a game?
Oh my God, some really good games so far this weekend. But I'm interested to see how Hipshot and Evil X are going to do. This is going to be the third game of the weekend for them, the second one today. And they've been running a 2-jammer rotation. So we'll see how that holds out.
Yeah, I did see that. It was very interesting. Like, very few teams you'll ever see just run the 2. Providence, meanwhile, has been cycling through Flying King, Monsoon, and also Goldie, but occasionally interjecting Oakley in there to do the smash and grab.
Sure. All right, next whistle starts the jam. We've got Hipshot out there for Antwerp taking on Monsoon. Monsoon in the white, Hipshot in the black. Big push forward. It looks like just one to beat. Some great recycling there in turn 2, but Hipshot is out with lead.
Wow, we already got one block on the box for Antwerp for destruction of the pack. Monsoon able to stay in, but cutting the track, did step out of bounds. Power jam start for Hipshot here.
All right, so we've got a scoring pass there for Antwerp. First points on the board. Looks like Snow Black also headed to the penalty box to be joined by Puma Thurman. So 3 penalties right in a row there for these teams.
And it's the little mistakes that we see. And what we've seen here at the tournament is some of these blockers, the teams will fizzle out to the penalty box and it becomes a scoring rain. And it's not good for Providence, especially right now, starting off with a power jam for Antwerp.
So we've got Hipshot going through the pack backwards. That ought to be, I believe, 12 points total so far.
More legal position on Antwerp. Both teams sharing quite a bit of blocker penalties. Monsoon on that initial pass. Calls it just before she gets in there. Another 4. Already a 16-point jam to start off here, Alona.
It's a solid start, but when you take into account half the pack was off the track at any given point, and there was a power jam.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, by all means.
I was going to say, this is actually an interesting pair up when you got Flying King and Evil X. Both very incredibly quick skaters, great on the jukes. A little bit of a nudge there from Evil X, letting Flying King know who's there. And that Providence pack really split up. Flying King caught in the mix of Antwerp, but finds an opening on the outside. It's going to take lead, but we're going to have a neck and neck here. Here's if Flying King is just going to call it off or try to at least grab a 1 or 2 points into this pack. That's on turn number 3.
Evil X is going to get knocked down there in between turns 3 and 4. Flying King looking to push through. Up in front on turn 1, gets knocked out of bounds by number 10 there. That's Mijambu.
Oh, that was great. That was actually number 1, Lieutenant Savage, coming in, taking Oakley out of that equation. And that's going to give that opening to Evil X. Flying King still locked in that pack.
Evil X with points on the board at this point. Flying King going to call it off, picking up 4 points. So 4-4 on that jam. Antwerp at 20, Providence at 4. 3 minutes have elapsed.
That's going to call up hip shot now, going against Goldie. Pack of Providence up in the front, closer towards that pivot line.
A slight pack advantage going to Antwerp. But that we've got a blocker there for Providence, who is currently standing at the box.
Hip shot.
Yeah.
Sorry, hip shot. So incredibly fast. That's something that Providence needs to contend with, is how quick they are on their skates and jamming around. And Miller Lowlife going to the box right now. It's a pivot and a leap of the apex, but falls in the infield. Recycle back, great track awareness on that, avoiding the track cut. But now I'm seeing a forearm call. That's going to go on a blocker for Antwerp.
Yeah, definitely interesting how the penalties have already just played a role here in the first just couple of jams.
And Providence got to be careful. They did lose one of their prime blockers and pivots in the last game.
Goldie gets laid out there on the backstretch. And that is Antwerp's pivot being sent to the penalty box for a direction. That is Snow Black.
That was interesting. Hip shot leaps over on the outside of the line into turn 3. Stops and looks at the jam ref as she's out of bounds like, didn't I? Do I go back in? No, I'm just going to play safe and recycle back.
So we've got, see an 8-point jam there for Antwerp. All right, so I think, yeah, we are going to see the replay there of hip shots. Yep.
Just barely in. It was just, as she tucked in that left foot just a little closer to the right there, I might have been able to get it. But again, great track awareness to recycle back and not chance it at all.
Absolutely. So no surprise, we've got Evil X lining up for Antwerp in the black. Monsoon wearing the star for Providence is in the white. And Monsoon's going to take it to the inside of turn 2, picking up lead jammer privilege. Evil X, though, out and on her tail.
Oh. Hits the brakes going out of the straightaway. Going to wrap that one up. 3 points still picked up by Antwerp, and only 2 for Providence on that one. Evil X coming in very close and tight from the rear there. So it was one of those, we're going to chance it. And it would say, unfortunately, they did pick up a little more points for Antwerp, but fortunately, Providence did put some on the board for themselves.
All right, so 31-7 in favor of Antwerp. 6 minutes have elapsed. Hip shot in the black going up against Flying King in the white. Hip shot gets around the pack there to the outside, but more importantly, it's to the outside. Flying King's going to pick up lead once again for Providence. There's just a constant rotation of blockers to the box.
Speaking of rotation, Providence trying to regroup back together as Antwerp keeps just drilling away at that pack. Flying King through with 4.
Yeah, and Flying King also getting the keep it going from their bench. And that could just be in large part because they want to just kind of like pick up as many points as they can, but at the same time, there aren't as many Antwerp blockers out there on the track.
Yep. Oakley coming in, charging through alongside Miller Lowlife. And Flying King actually able to chop through that and going to call that, cash in that 8-4 jam. 35-15.
I'd like to thank you all for listening to this WFTDA recognized tournament.
Watching it.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically they're listening to it. I mean, maybe they're not. If you're watching and or listening, thank you very much. This is a WFTDA recognized tournament. We're so happy to have Nerd Derby here busting my chops all weekend long.
If you're watching and listening and maybe even smelling, first I apologize, but you enjoy us here. And right now, Evil X quickly fires out of that pack, gonna take the lead. Pack moving very swiftly into turn 2. Goldie almost finding the opening, goes out, recycles back in behind number 10, Majan Bu. Already lapped through full 4 points is Evil X. Goldie now catching up with the pack, catching up right behind Evil X pack in the straightaway.
Providence lining up in the back. Evil X is going to come up against it. She's looking for 2. It looks like her jam ref's just going to give her 1. So it looks like the next WFTDA recognized tournament coming up is going to be, let's see, next weekend, April 20th to 21st, West Track Story 7, taking place in, is that, I took Regents French, but it doesn't mean that I remember much. Is it Nantes, France?
I never knew. I knew either way I was going to butcher it, so I always leave off. But it's a good question to ask.
Well, if you're listening from there, I'm sorry.
Nantes.
Nantes. Great, got it.
Nantes. Thank you, our awesome producer, Jim the Grim.
But we've got Monsoon making her way through turn 2, picking up a lead jammer privilege again for Providence. Skating up against Hip Shot.
Oh, collides right into one of the blocks from Antwerp as Retro is going to try to at least jog up up and going to the box. Looks like track cut. Oh yeah, cutting the track for Monsoon. Power jam back to Hip Shot.
All right, so Hip Shot's got a 2-minute jam ahead of her. Full complement of Providence blockers out there, but she'll make her way through the pack. 4 points on the board. All blockers out there anxiously waiting Hip Shot's return. Takes it straight up the middle, out of turn 4 for another 4-point pass. We've got Monsoon coming back in from the penalty box in turn 4. Tripod waiting for her. Middle low life coming in to play a little bit of offense.
Oh. Yeah, I did see it. They're cutting the track. 1 foot did slip out right at that jammer line. Monsoon, 3rd jammer penalty, all of them track cuts.
All right, so here we go. Hip Shot, it's like, use that power jam, because she just like skates around the track. It's just kind of like, it's a leisurely skate. But at the same time, she's been in a 2-jammer rotation all weekend long. She knows that she's going to be skating in a 2-jammer rotation the rest of today. So conserve that energy while you can. Looks like we've got those 4 whistles to end things here.
Yeah, it looked like an illegal position call on Retro Rocket here, but let's take a look here. It's coming around, bam, that hit it in that brick wall there.
One more time here.
Unfortunately, Monsoon not summoning the powers of the White Walkers to get through that wall.
Who's ready for Game of Thrones tonight?
The man wearing the Game of Thrones leggings next to you.
Yep. Evil X and Flying King wearing the stars for their respective teams. Evil X is going to see an opportunity on the outside of the backstretch.
And they have a forearm call. Going to go on Evil X. We have a power jam now for Flying King, who, as we saw previously, got a power jam in the last bout earlier today. Picked up 20 points.
Yeah, Flying King, what a weekend they've had. Remember during the game yesterday when I believe it was Bruce City had taken the lead from them, and they came back, put a 26-point jam on the record for the team, took the lead back to Providence, and then kept it the rest of the day.
Flying King also responsible for that final bout scoring, bringing Providence out of the whole 12-point hole and winning it for them. And winning Flying King is with number 4. Evil X already back in the pack in the mix. And now working the initial pass. Flying King now whipping around, nice little duck under. Rides the outside line. Going to call that just before Evil X enters the pack. Going to pick up an additional 2 points.
So, yeah, on the replay.
Coming around.
Yep. Taking him to the outside.
Quick juke. Almost looked like it was going to swivel to the outside, but they cut right back in. Great footwork and high-scoring jam so far for Providence. 10 points there. As we have a official timeout call. Yes. But yeah, lots of great tournaments. Again, thank WFTDA recognizing this awesome tournament here. Thank you, Nerd Derby, for the wonderful production that we've had so far. A lot of great comments from the weekend. Thank you for joining us also in the chat feed. It's been great. You guys have pretty much become an offside. How would I say that? Outsource. Thank you. I was looking for that word. Chad to the rescue. An outsourced producer. Joining alongside Jim the Grim next to me.
Yeah, who has been getting a lot of suggestions from a number of us to apply to announce at the East Coast Derby Extravaganza June 21st through 23rd in Feasterville, Trevose, Pennsylvania, hosted by the Philly Roller Derby. So that's another WFTDA recognized tournament. Also, to go out a little further into the summer, because it's always good to have travel plans. Hometown Throwdown, June 21st through 23rd in Portland, Oregon, hosted by Rose City Rollers. La Classique Georgia W. Tush, June 14th through 16th in Montreal, Quebec, hosted by Montreal Roller Derby.
That was fantastic.
That should be a fun time. And, you know, it's probably not a bad thing to attend. And then once you go back for champs, you'll just be familiar with Montreal. You'll know what to expect, know where all the good beer and the good poutine are.
Oh, now I want poutine. Thank you very much.
I always want poutine.
Earlier there was that buffalo chicken sandwich Chad had to go bring up. Then, you know, I've been. Was it the barbecue one?
Yeah.
They ran out.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Now I want some more.
Get one next year.
As if I wasn't hungry for more derby. Get a whole year of it. So many weekends. So much derby, but not enough time in the world for it all.
So if you're just tuning in, like if you haven't been listening or watching this weekend, this isn't kind of like an elimination style tournament. There's 2 brackets, 4 teams in each, like a higher ranked bracket and a slightly lower ranked bracket. And it's just everyone is playing everyone. It's 3 sanctioned games for both brackets. And so right now we've got Antwerp taking on Providence, and then for the end of the day, it will be Bruce City taking on Appalachian.
Both these teams very close in the rankings, as Antwerp at 101, Providence at 99.
So it looks like we're going into about 3 minutes into this timeout, this official timeout.
And it looks like the officials are discussing over at the bench of Antwerp. Look like they have a conversation there. Looks like Evil X number 1-3. I'd like to see how this kind of plays out here.
Yep.
Well, we're going to see here.
All right, we're just kind of trying to take a look to see if we can kind of get an idea of what's happening. See if we can get a word from the alt ref.
Sent Jim the Grim on the mission. If he doesn't come back, we'll find another producer. No, we can't replace Jim the Grim.
No, we cannot.
Let
me Chad do it.
The beautiful plaid swagger. That is Jim the Grim over here.
All right, so hip shot rather, taking on lead jammer privilege for Antwerp. Skating against Goldie for the Rhode Island Riveters. Hip shot coming around for a scoring pass, taking it to the outside of the turn 1. And that outside of turn 1 has been just a sweet spot for Antwerp's jammers all weekend long. This time, though, going to take it to the inside of turn 2 for 4 points.
And it looks like we got a star pass to Milla Lowlife. Kind of trying to not maybe score some points, but definitely trying to, at best, to force off this call. And definitely it does, but getting some extra points added to that board there for Antwerp. Actually, see, we've nothing else on that last turn there, but still 63-28. Antwerp cashes in. And now change up that jammer rotation. Majin Buu, number 1-0 for Antwerp.
All right, so the whistle is off with Mi Jambu taking on Monsoon, and it'll be Monsoon picking up lead with a hop in turn 2. Mi Jambu getting low to the outside of the backstretch with a little bit of dip, has completed an initial pass.
Providence in the rear, and they're going to charge through with Oakley in the front, but great footwork there. Up and great track awareness there, Monsoon. Been getting recycled back to turn number 3.
Yep, that was Hunter bringing her back and then closing off the inside lane that she was looking to follow through on.
And here comes Shreddy teamed up with Oakley. Shreddy doing a fantastic job all weekend with blocking. Really turned it up a notch this year. Monsoon picking up 4 for Providence.
Again, Mi Jambu looking to get low and take it to the outside of turn 1. Unsuccessful, got knocked out of bounds. We've got a no pass there, so just 3 points on that one.
Swoon fires 4 back and closes it up. So with the update on Evil X, as you see, was not in that jammer rotation. She has been expelled from the game for making contact with her skates while in the air. So nothing, intentional, but it's just one of those things that do happen in Derby. So now we're going to see something changed up with Antwerp, where they had that 2 jammer rotation of Hipshot and Evil X. Now it's going to be, looks like Hipshot, and it's going to be Majambu. It might change up that game completely now for them.
And it's the type of thing, too, where we're not 100% sure if it's going to turn into stay with a 2-jammer rotation. It might be something that gets mixed up if you have a less experienced or a not as deep jammer pool. So we've got Hipshots completing an initial pass, picking up lead and coming in to score points. A little blocker dozy-do there in the penalty box. One out from Providence, one in for Antwerp.
Yep, I believe there was a forearm call on their pivot. Another 4 picked up by Antwerp. Now they're going to line up Goldie, going skate to skate against Majambu. Now, a little bit of old school Derby here with the lineup right against the pivot line. Only about, I believe it's 2 blockers out there for Antwerp. Got the full pack out there for Providence.
Majambu getting knocked out of bounds by number 26, Shreddy Roosevelt.
I say it looked like Oakley used in Rexy and Shreddy's 2 giant Hulk gloves, beating around. And it's successful because it's going to be still recycled back on the inside. Already through. Full 4 points picked up by Goldie. Huge opportunity Providence is cash in with, again, Antwerp's blockers going in and out of the box.
Boo's going to find an opening on the inside of the backstretch, take it, and that completes an initial 40 seconds into the jam. A Shreddy trying to keep Boo back on that last pass there.
And now they're calling up Hipshot and Monsoon up to the track. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a full house on flat track. Coach Hot Sauce quickly heading over into the center. Quick statement and running right back to that bench. And we're going to have an official timeout there. So yeah, apologize. Like, of course, with the intensity of Derby comes the storms and the weather. So if you're getting a little bit of a spotty feed, apologize. But good thing is, if there's anything you want to recatch, if you go right here to twitch.tv and subscribe to Nerd Derby, you can not only rewatch this bout, previous bouts, but also future bouts, which include Coastal Chaos coming up.
Wait, I can watch future bouts now?
Yes. It's
like in a Spaceballs thing?
It's like Spaceballs.
Yeah. Oh my God, best thing
instant,
ever. It's
instant
so much
streaming.
better than I thought.
Instant streaming.
All right, next whistle will bring us back. We've got Hipshot going up against Monsoon. Monsoon behind a tripod there in the back. Hipshot looking to move forward through that tripod up front.
Yeah, Miller trying to chop away into the center there, but great defense being played out there by Cherry Moshpit alongside Lieutenant Savage.
Looks like Monsoon's going to get pushed to the inside there when she tries to take the apex. Denied, and it's going to get recycled back. We've got hip shot bringing lead back to Antwerp. Monsoon less than a quarter of a track behind hip shot. Hip shot's going to get knocked down to the inside.
The boomerang is in full effect. Now I want to know who's had the lovely experience of this. Puma Thurman, that's what's called the boomerang. But it looked like, I just want to get a closer look at that, actually what happened there. Whoa. Rough to the inside there.
It's one of those instances where you're really glad that you've got the lead jammer privilege so that you can just stop right there.
No, the privilege of sitting behind this desk so I don't get hit by Puma.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. All right, so you were correct. It does look like we're going into a 2-jammer rotation that now includes Majin Buu. Buu looks to find some space on the outside of the front stretch and gets denied by Oakley. Flying King, though, is going to come out with lead jammer for Providence.
Great defense. Shreddy trying to knock to the outside, goes outside. Same with Oakley. It's 2 hits to Majin Buu to the outside, but the blocker's skating out of bounds as well, leaving Majin Buu to continue that pass. But Flying King going to call that one off out the straightaway. And wait for the official count here from our jammer referee. He's been doing a great job in communicating with the outer pack refs all weekend long. Make sure that they got the most accurate count possible. And that's going to be 2 points picked up by Flying King.
All right, so 73-46. Antwerp still on top, 10.5 minutes left to go. Hip shot with the star for Antwerp.
And fired out from the inside, the outside of the pack was hip shot. And the pack still hasn't even reached that pivot line here, Loda.
We've got Goldie being knocked to the outside of the front stretch. Backed up into turn 4, star off, looking to approach that tripod, who definitely knows exactly who she is. Trying to push forward there on number 7. That is Cherry Mosh Pit.
It's like Goldie with that stash trying to get over to her pivot.
Hip shot able to put 4 points on the board, sorry.
Goldie going to the box, it looks like for a forearm. Milla Lowlife has that pass, but yeah, that was quite the forearm launch from Milla. That's she's gonna go to the box, and now we have a power jam going to Antwerp for hip shot.
Hip shot does have lead jammer privilege. And you know, one thing I would like to say, aside from the fact that Hip Shot put 12 points on the board to bring Antwerp to 85, Providence held scoreless at 46, is just the overlay that's on the screen here. I love that it lets me know exactly who is jamming. It shows me how many timeouts, the official reviews, the points in the last jam, who's got lead. I absolutely love it. It's all the information that I could ever possibly want.
So I'm going to tell you who we thank for that. That is all the volunteers who work on the Carolina Roller Girls software. Those CRG folks are doing a dynamic job, and they do that all just because they're smart and they care and they want things to be better.
It's awesome. It just
big shout out to those folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, CRG. Yeah.
All right, Milla Lowlife with the star coming out of the box. Hip shot, though, with that power start, picks up lead.
Enough time to wear down those 30 seconds. Milla out, working that initial pass. Coming up really quick onto Hip shot.
Hip shot takes it around the outside, gets low in turn 2, is able to pick up 4 points and call it off.
It was so great because Milla was wondering if she got any points, and then when the jam ref threw up 3, she just jumped up excited, so happy. I think that's the loudest I've ever heard Milla. It was good feels. You know, I'll take all those small wins when you can. 89-49, so anything can happen. But we're getting a timeout call by Antwerp. Their first timeout, 7 minutes 52 seconds remaining in our first half.
All right, so up next, what do we have up next? The last game of the weekend. It is Appalachian versus Bruce City.
Yep.
Appalachian, who played Antwerp earlier today. That was the first game of the day, and then Brew City, who played the second game here against Providence.
Yeah, Antwerp had a fantastic bout against them this morning. And again, just looking over to the bench today, the spirits are not down with Antwerp. Just realigning. Majambu doing a great job filling it in for that position Evil X had previously. But the blockers, they're just keeping their A game up, and those tripods are just brutal that they have. It goes in effect also how great and tall they are compared to like Providence's jammers, which are pretty low. So they're using that length, especially arm's length, from their pivot, or whoever wants to anchor that tripod can spread out her blockers enough, go from a wall, and then just kind of close that trap. Take a look at this hip shot 3 times, though. So that rotation has slowed down a bit, and they're relying heavy on hip shot here. 3 in a row jams.
Yeah, we saw her do back-to-back jams, I think once today and once yesterday as well. Those are definitely going to tire her out a lot faster. So it looks like we've got hip shot out, picking up a lead. Direction being assessed there to number 16, Boone's Harm on Providence. Nick Mops up there, kind of breaking up that pack there as hip shot came in to turn 1.
That was a very sweet, clean escape from the pack from hip shot. Monsoon twice teetering on that straightaway line, still able to keep toe stops in. Oakley tried to get a little hit to Puma, nothing there.
But what a great job of hip shot getting so low as she comes around the outside of turn 3. Gets low, picks up those 4 points, is able to call it off.
I believe Puma's sitting down actually for a track cut. She got going out, recycling, didn't properly recycle back in. And now we got to call up Flying King back to the hip shot. 4 jams in a row here. But only 2 blockers up in the front, and that is Shreddy and Oakley. With a dark pistol trying to break up that chain that they've set up.
And it definitely works for him. Hip shot is out, picking up lead.
Yeah, Flying King right on the tail though. Pack now moving fast. Now from turn 3 to turn 4 going into the pivot, the jammer line, now going to the pivot line there. Trying to keep Boone's Harm separated from the rest of that pack. Hip shot trying to come in, calling it a little early, but still able to pick up. Actually, no. Picked
She
up
got
2
the 2
points.
points.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she wanted. That's what she expected to
Wow.
get. Yeah.
That was very close, very tight.
All right, so we've got Boo out there, number 10 for Antwerp, wearing the star. She is in the jammer rotation after we've lost Evil X to an expulsion earlier. It'll be Goldie, number 17 in white for Providence.
Harris trying to lay in. Providence relied very heavily this weekend on their stiff hits where they would just alternate, break from their normal tripod formation and go into heavy breaks, but like Puma I see going to the box for a back block. But it seems like Antwerp is actually able to shake off a lot of these big hits they're throwing in. But now we got the pack anchored by Milololef, ready and able to snatch and grab Majin Buu through. Meanwhile, Antwerp's pack doing a great job holding off at bay Goldie, who finds an opening outside, but now locking eyes with a pivot for Antwerp. And now right into a defensive position is Majin Buu. And it proves effective enough just to hold Goldie down just a little bit longer. Now working the initial pass, 4 points picked up by Majin Buu. And crashes right into Puma Thurman.
Who does not move, does not blink.
There was no expression.
Yeah.
It's like hitting the Terminator. But yeah, let's watch this coming around. Just bam.
Yeah.
But look at how Puma like plays smart, keeps her arms tucked in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the call, like the question there for the official review. That got called pretty quick.
Yes.
But it also happened right in front of their bench, so.
Yeah, they had a prime view. We'll see how that pans out over here. Meanwhile, waiting the wings is going to be hip shot back up again, this time with Monsoon. Yeah, even all 4 times, as Jim McGrim points out, Hipshot was out in a row there, picked up lead all those times.
You know, we haven't really seen much of a streak here, but I mean, I guess it's kind of like shaping up there for Antwerp, 4 in a row that they've been able to pick up lead, holding Providence scoreless in 3 of them.
Yeah, Hipshot was actually 8 for 10 in leads. So about 80%. See, I can do math.
You can. I knew you could.
Where's my gold star? I need to get my gold star now.
I'll tell Bobby.
All right, so we've got the officials have spoken to the teams themselves, are now out conferencing, coming back in.
110 to 49. Very interesting how heavy the penalties were right from the start of the first jam.
Yeah.
It's not just one side; it's both teams. Seeing quite a bit of forearms, a lot of illegal position I've been seeing out here as well. A little bit of direction and gameplay, but that's about it. On top of the track cuts as well. Seeing a lot of blocker track cuts in this tournament.
Yeah. So we're going to get the call on the official review from Jim McGrim. Big thanks to our ref and officials crew here this weekend. Been fantastic, really keeping us in the loop.
It was actually Providence calling that official review. They were looking for a blocking of the head on Majin but it was a legal hit, so no call stands. They're going to lose the official review for the first half.
All right. So not what
No,
we kind of like would have expected, especially watching the replay there, and it came out just so quickly. We've got Hipshot, who's picked up lead now 4 of the last 4 times she's been out, so we're going to continue that streak there for Antwerp. Monsoon wearing the star for Providence, getting knocked out of turn 2, recycled. Hipshot able to get down low and evade the hit that I would have expected from Oakley there.
Yeah, Oakley going to offensive position, trying to get that opening for Monsoon to slide by. Now comes in just a nudge and a little bit from Sparky there too, but not enough for Hipshot, who's now just pacing herself, trying to retain as much energy as possible. Knows that they have a lot of time on the clock there. Oakley receiving the star pass and forcing that call off after another 3, or was that 4 pickup for Antwerp.
Hipshot, who was just like so thick in the blockers there, and calls it off by putting her hands like behind her back to call it off so that she can make sure it's seen by the refs.
I'm glad you finished that sentence, and when you had the pause, I was so thick, I was like, where are we going with this? But yeah, very true. We're just in that mix of the blockers, having to play it smart. Majin Buu out there now with Flying King. Very quick Providence to recycle to the front of that pack. Majin Buu going down. Boons and Milla becoming the battering rams against her. Flying King with a little leap over the apex of turn 1. Gonna take that lead.
And we have a full penalty box, I think, from Antwerp at this point. Nope, I'm mistaken. There's just one blocker and the jammer. The other one was released.
And now here comes Flying King Streak, picking up 4 points.
I was going to say, if we've learned anything from this weekend, this is not the position you want Flying King in. Not as many blockers to get through in a power jam.
Flying King on the toe stops, becoming a flying dragon per se.
8 points on the board so far for Flying King. We've got Boo out of the penalty box for Antwerp, almost completing an initial pass.
Boone's getting a forearm call. But a quick recycled back. Majin Buu just double checking to make sure wasn't knocked out of bounds, but Boone's with that call. Flying King just gonna wrap that one up. Look at the toe work though, right here. Just stays up and like doesn't even stumble when those toe stops hit. Just kind of glides across the track like on a thin patch of air.
That's figure skating.
Well, I was just going to say that I remember reading that Flying King has some figure skating in their background. So that certainly comes into play and looks effortless and graceful. All right, so a new star out on the track. Oh, I was going to say a new star. It's 89 hip shot. Know that number and know that style by now. Coming out with lead.
The whistles all left and right. See illegal position and call. Let's see, I'm seeing direction gameplay. I'm seeing like quite a bit being thrown up there.
Dark pistol, that last one to beat, and it looks like Goldie does that. Completes an initial after hip shot, puts 4 points on the board.
Coming down, looks like we might have one more jam left, and that's going to be Monsoon going skate to skate against Majin Buu. Got about 3 blockers out for Providence, 3 for Antwerp.
All right, so it looks like 3 blockers on 3 blockers there.
I'm just looking at the legs of Cherry. Not only is she tall, but the way she just plants her skates down.
Yes.
It's just phenomenal. And again, the long arms, she can extend herself when needed. And works well there with Lieutenant Savage. Great pairing together for blockers for Antwerp.
And so easy to cover just the width of the track at any given time. But Monsoon is going to find an opening and make her way through. Boo got pushed to the outside of turn 1 and backed up by Miller Lowlife.
And now the pack is completely compressed within itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we had a Monsoon getting knocked down into the middle of it. Was able to, I was going to say, was able to stay in bounds, but no, toes go out.
I believe it's like the 4th track cut Monsoon has. It's only in the first half.
So we've got Boo out there for Antwerp in a 2-minute jam. Just about a minute left, and this will be the last one for the half.
Savage taking the forearm, reporting to the box in there. Jane coming in, trying to light up Majin Buu.
All right, so that is the initial for Boo.
Yep, Dr. G going in for direction of gameplay, leaving only 2 blockers left for Antwerp. Providence lined up with their 4-blocker wall here. Oakley tried her hardest, but Majin Buu able to escape through the inside. And back out is Monsoon, working the pass, picks up those 4 from the original before the penalty.
Coming into the last couple of seconds here of the jam clock. Majin Buu's going to take it to the outside of turn 1. It just about completes it. Looks like picks up 4 points, though, indeed. So we're going to head into halftime. 8 points on the board from Boo and Antwerp. That's going to bring them to 134. 4 points on the board for Providence. They're going to end at 64. We've got about 15 minutes before we come back. So get yourself some beverages, some snacks, and we'll see you in a bit. All right, welcome back, Derby friends and family. We are coming into the last few minutes of the second to last game of the weekend. Antwerp Roller Derby One Love Roller Dolls versus Providence Roller Derby Rhode Island Riveters. My name is A Little Sarcasm.
And I'm the CAC, the Pharaoh Fantabulous.
Yeah. So one of the things we did amongst, others is check out the number of penalties that these teams have. Overall, Antwerp is coming into the second half with 25. Providence has 20. We saw 3 blocker penalties right in the very first jam, and it really never stopped from there. When you're looking at the numbers, when it comes to Antwerp, we've got number 50 Snow Black with 6, and then Lieutenant Savage with 4. Anyone else is 3 or below. And then on the Providence side, we've got Puma Thurman with 4, Monsoon with 4, all cut tracks, while we're in the Jammer Star. And then anyone else is 1s and 2s, but kind of spread out along the team.
Yeah, and again, it's that losing the blockers has been detrimental. But with Antwerp, because of holding so many of the leads, that's what helps with the score going ahead. The big thing that helped Antwerp, even though they got higher penalties, was Swoonby in the box. All those times, it just gave that open opportunity just to keep the score running. And on the other side of things, when we look at the score itself, you got number 8-9 Hip Shot with 9 out of 13 leads, holding the big caboodle of that, may I say. And now with the switch up at the jammer rotation, at certain points did 4 jams in a row, got lead with all 4 of those. But on the other side of Providence there, it's comebacks to Flying King, 4 out of 7 lead jams, and got twice the 2 highest scoring jams for Providence, 10 points apiece. Hip Shot had about a 19-point jam as well in jam 7. But otherwise been pretty spread out. You see a lot of 2s and 4s, but for Providence right now, it's trying to get back to that game is to keep their blockers out of the box and making sure that their track awareness is key, especially for their jammers. As we see Monsoon rocking the star already, going to kick things off.
And we've seen a pretty consistent 2 jammer rotation from Antwerp all weekend. First 2 games, it was Hip Shot, and Evil X. With Evil X's expulsion there early on in the first half, it's been Hip Shot and Majin Buu. And I talked to the officials crew and kind of asked, when did that happen for Evil X? When did she make contact with skates in the air? And they're like, it was right off the whistle.
Kind of taking a look at things. Hot Sauce point out something with the scoreboard real quick with our head referee. That'd be Bippity Bobbity Boom. They had some great officiating and some keen eyes out there this weekend. There's some shots we even watched on the replay that we didn't even see at first, but until it got slowed down and the official were right on the ball calling them. But it looks like, we have a full house on the flat track. All our blockers out, 5 versus 5. Hip Shot also wearing the star now for Antwerp.
So it looks like we're starting in an official timeout. I mean, we haven't really started yet, but.
Yeah. I think it's just make sure everything's good, even with the scoreboards looking over at SO's table, make sure they're ready to go.
Thanks for tuning into this WFGDA recognized tournament this weekend. We've got 1 game to go after that. It'll be the 7 o'clock game with Appalachian taking on Bruce City.
And even with the score of 134-64, I'm looking at Providence bench and I just see smiles and laughter, especially with Retro. I don't see anything else but smiles out of her. And Shreddy, but when she smiles, I get a little terrified. I'm scared. I'm personally scared to death of her.
And we mentioned earlier, right at the very beginning of the game, that both of these teams are coming into this particular game 2-0. So whoever wins it will sweep the tournament. Same thing happened with Burning River in the other bracket, 3-0.
I think even after calling and watching a lot of the teams here, I think one of the teams, they all play with their hearts, but I think the biggest heart for me was definitely showed with Jersey Shore, because at one point, they were down due to 7 penalties, one of their top jammer and one of their top blockers, but they never quit. They never had a sad face, and they just drove it home. And they had a small team to begin with, but they just kept playing to the very end. They would never, ever, ever quit. So they get a big thumbs up from the Cats.
And those are the best thumbs up ever.
Actually, they're more like crooked, if you can see there.
They are.
Fix that. Ow.
All right. The next whistle bring us back to Derby.
Is it safe to say the winner of this game claims the Iron Throne of Siege this year?
Could be, could be. We've got Hipshot out front, picking up lead first. Low block there is going to go to number 93, Dr. G.
Miller getting sent to the box as well. Munson working the initial pass, just taking that forward slam the door is Hipshot. Early on, bringing 138.64. And they're keeping Majin Buu as part of their 2 jammer rotation. That's going to call up next to Flying King. Got a chance to talk to some of the skaters from Antwerp last night at the hotel. They're having a great time. They played Ottawa Valley down here for it. And even though a few of them might be going home tomorrow, some of them are staying around for a few days in America and check things out.
Excellent. All right, Boo is out in front, lead for Antwerp.
Up the blocker penalties are already stacking up now. Only 2 blocks for Providence in there. And another one for Antwerp going to box. And I'm hearing a back block call. Just penalties all galore. Oh, wait a minute. Now we're having, it looks like, yep, a back block was actually assigned to Majin Buu. We have Power Jam Flying King.
Boo had picked up lead jammer privilege before that penalty. We've got 4 points for Flying King. Pack here in turn 3, waiting for Flying King to come around. Big offensive sweep coming up to help them out. One last to beat. Number 93, Dr. G, unable to hold Flying King back. Looks like Antwerp losing one of their blockers to the penalty box, just as Boo back to come in. Oakley is waiting for Boo. It's a serious stare down. Quick juke there to the inside. Yeah, Boo completes that initial pass. I thought for sure she was going to end up in the infield. There was a lot of momentum coming her way.
Actually getting the 4 up in the sky. 4 fly back, Flying King just was going to go, and now Coach Hot Sauce is like, nope, keep it going. We're going to shoot 4 for 4, and hopefully we might get lucky out of this again. Just go with it while you got the opportunity.
Nice.
Oh, amazing footwork there. Almost going out of bounds there on turn number 3, staying in.
Yeah, I would imagine that last scoring pass from Boo is in part due to, I think, Sis Boombani there, who kind of protected her from being knocked to the inside. Boo kind of got sandwiched there between Sis Boombani and another blocker.
Yeah, and that is the biggest jam thus far in the game. 20-point jam by Flying King, and that was on the very first power jam on Antwerp.
Wow. Yeah, do not give Flying King an inch. Official timeout being called at this point.
And we're back into it again.
All right, so slight pack advantage going to Providence right now. We've got Lieutenant Savage standing in the box for Antwerp.
Lowe's Goldie trying to dig around, especially when Titmouse Puma comes in.
Yeah, breaks that up.
But look how quick Antwerp is to reform there. And that's Lieutenant Savage alongside, it looks like, yeah, CC Titmouse. Lead going to Hip Shot, coming around to the pack. Rocket to the box. Recycle back by Goldie. And already 1 lap through and 4 up for Antwerp. Already working that initial pass is Goldie, who had that star stash. But another 4 picked up by Hipshot and gonna call that one off. Just as, and we're getting an official timeout yet again while they sort things out. But yeah, it was they had like a little bit of a kip up there with Flying King, bringing a lot of energy back to Providence. And it looks like we're having a little bit was a scoreboard issue that's going on here, but we're going to see when that gets corrected. But then again, Antwerp fires back yet again. and taking control of this game again, 150 to 84. Right now, just waiting for the scoreboard update. I want to thank you all again for joining us here at the Siege of Central New York here at the Kennedy Arena in Rome, New York. Thank you again to Central New York Roller Derby, the Daybreakers and the Nightmares. Nightmares you saw playing earlier today. Been a fantastic job every year around, and now we finally get the full production thanks to Nerd Derby. And thank you once again to our fearless leader, the THA, a load of sarcasm. And I love seeing the scoreboard where you can actually see, like, yeah, it most certainly is. It is frozen. Alt Control Delete. Alt Control Delete. But everyone having a good time, having a good laugh, getting relaxed. Everyone having a wonderful time here at Siege all together.
It's always such a good time here, and it's always so great to see just the great announcers who apply and come out here and want to come out here. So it's always a pleasure to create a team of such fantastic people that I enjoy working with, people that I respect. So
I'm
not
on that list. Oh.
I'm contractually obligated to have you on the list.
And my parole officer says it keeps me busy, so that's fine. I always love coming out here. It's my second Siege. It was a great time. I love the Kennedy Arena just because it's so nice and cozy, especially down on the far end.
I was going to say, and when you say cozy, you're not referring to the air temperature at all.
No, not at all in the
I
least.
think you actually just want to come here because there's a Zamboni.
Why? Why would you suggest such a thing?
Why would I? I always enjoy watching you when you're out and about at tournaments just to see if it's at a hockey arena because I always look forward to your videos.
Except for lobster roll. They didn't have a Zamboni, but they had a camel.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was an
pleasant
electronic
surprise.
camel. Yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the keys. But a lot of great tournaments. Yeah, it was out at Lobster Roll, out at Clover Cup here at Siege. And I can't wait just to sit as a fan at any of these ones. I'm definitely looking forward to even potentially Coastal Chaos, as you mentioned before, in Rockport, Maine. But if there's one I wish I could absolutely go to, that'd be Kallio's Finvitational, May 31st and 2nd in Helsinki, Finland. Kallio got to see them up close at European Continental Cup. Just wonderful, wonderful human beings on top of just being amazing freaking skaters.
Awesome. All right, so it looks like we've got things figured out with the scoreboard there. Antwerp picked up 8 points in the last jam. It's going to bring them to 158, 0 points on the board for Providence. They're at 84.
And that's Monsoon out there with Majin Buu. Majin Buu get recycled back by Shreddy Roosevelt. Monsoon up near the front of the pack trying to dig away, but now through all that chaos, Majin Buu the great visual, found that opening on turn one and just slid through. But oh no, track cut number 5 for Monsoon. That is rough. 4 points picked up by Majin Buu. Providence now moving that pack up in turn 2, being anchored by Oakley with that tripod. Puma coming in.
Big pile up there on the backstretch, but Boo's going to come out with another 4 points.
Now a reset here, the tripod with Puma anchoring. Oakley and Rocket on the end. Opening for Shreddy to sneak around the front, refills in. And here's where the good blocking goes. Oh, we got a forearm call. Not sure who that. Oh, that is going to go on Puma Thurman.
Yep. We had a 3-2-1 retro rocket trying to throw their hips out there at Boo. Boo, though, able to stay inbounds there on the outside of turn 1. We've got Monsoon back on the track. Spins her way out of turn 1 to complete an initial pass. Boo, though, going to call it off after picking another 4 points up. All right, so a 16-point jam for Boo, bringing Antwerp Roller Derby to 174. Providence scoreless at 84. 6 minutes are elapsed in the second half.
Now a hip shot going to be going up on that line there with Flying King. Looking about 3 of the blockers for Providence out. Puma's still in that box, I believe. We got about full 4.
Everyone just crowds the inside there, and Hip Shot just swings it to the outside, picks up lead. Flying King right in the middle and just pushing.
Yeah, Boone's trying to get a little bit personal there, and Antwerp trying to break that up. Flying King finally through, but with that, the call from Hip Shot, 4 points picked up. We're going to reset. We're going to move on our way to jam number 6.
All right, so I think it might be the first time we've seen Jane Ostentatious jamming for Providence, going up against Boo.
Jane, very new, and this is, even though Providence is my home league, it's the first time I've actually got to see Jane Ostentatious play. Pleasantly surprised. And one who took a hard hit, got up, smiling and laughing, and just kept moseying on about the day. I was like, she's already A-okay in my book.
All right, so this time around, Jane Ostentatious is going to get pushed to the outside of the front stretch, kind of by accident.
Meow.
Just Boo did not see that.
Majin Buu had her head down and just felt the breeze and wind, looked up.
Like, oh.
The look on her face was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where Jane Ostentatious was just in the right place and the right time. It was kind of almost lifted up and around the pack accidentally. But, you know, if it completes your initial for you, that is A-okay.
Now Goldie up, gonna go skate with Hip Shot. Providence lined up right, pressed against the jammer line. And trying to get into the middle there. It was like number 357, Dark Pistol.
357 looking to make a hole there in the tripod of Providence wall. And then falls right back to hold back Goldie while Hip Shot is through. Completes the initial and picks up lead. Dark Pistol once again, that one to beat there. A little bit of help here now from Gunther.
And another 4 picked up by Hip Shot. Goldie taken out of bounds to turn number 3. But I believe I saw an illegal contact hit. I believe it's, Hunter is going to the box. Same with Dark Pistol also being reported to the box now. That's going to give a chance for Goldie to work that initial pass forward. Now picked up by Hip Shot, who's taking measure. Nothing called. Jetpack now in between the pivot and jammer line. Goldie come up and gonna put a stop to that just before she can get another point. But definitely ran down that clock a little bit. Instead of calling early, just let that clock run down just a tiny bit more.
Well, it was like this combination of Hip Shot just like waiting until the very possible last second, and Goldie just stretching her hips back as far as she could in an effort to pick up at least one.
I got Monsoon back out, Majin Buu. 3 blockers out for Providence, 2. And that 2 for Antwerp, that's going to give lead jam to Monsoon.
Looks like that's the first time Providence has picked up lead in the second half.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to the blocker penalties. Providence can capitalize upon it. Now just with a 2-blocker wall, Monsoon trying to swim through around turn 2. Will do so. Will put 4 on the board for Providence. That's going to bring it now as she closes down 186 to 88 in favor of Antwerp. And we are at the 20-minute mark.
And that's just the second time that Providence has put points up on the board here in the second half. The last time that was done was a 20-point jam from Flying King.
So official timeout because I turned around and looked at the board is frozen yet again. Queen Elsa hanging around the arena. I thought it felt a little chilly in here. It's now all coming together.
Are you going to see?
Well, you know, I would keep the jokes going, but I'm going to let it go. Let it go just for you, Jim the Grim.
My goodness.
Are you regretting this decision?
Anyway.
Dark Pistol.
Pistol.
Little does she know until she watches the replay.
That's good.
Actually, our camera operator, Giraffic Jam, doing double the work.
Double the work, double the fun.
Let's take a look over the Providence line. awesome officials here. And, oh, excuse me, as I'm all getting choked up by all the excitement here. Once again, shout out to our awesome referee crew for this game here. Our crew head ref, Bibbidi Boppity Boom, being joined by Reverend Riot, Kill Trip, Queen Victoria, Recordian, Axis of Stevel, Simon Says, and Mia Culprit.
All right, and then our NSO crew, Bert Hurt, Neutron Scar, Rutro, Tornado Alley, Mama Menace, Rule Booker, Veronica Scars, Derriere, Stella by Starlight, and Mistress Grimm. But no relation or relationship to our Jim the Grim, who is just very busy reloading his mechanical pencil.
He's such a studious professor that he is. That's something I would expect, a professor to be doing at his desk, is meticulously loading in the lead for his mechanical pencil.
All right, so I did a quick look back to the scoreboard here, just as the screen went blue and then dark. So we'll see what we've got going on here.
But I was mentioning earlier to Banshee, because you mentioned Rutro, and I love getting a chance to see him. Very rarely it's either going to be here or like in Rochester I'll see him. But one of the things, again, we were talking about all these tournaments, so many tournaments, but you make so many friends, and it's always great coming to tournaments because you're going to see people that you only see or speak to, I should say, online, but get to see them in the flesh. It's like seeing an old friend again, an old family member. It's one of the things I absolutely love about going to tournaments. I think that's one of the big addictions about, besides just the sport of Derby.
Yep, and that was one thing that I so enjoyed going to the WFTDA recognized tournament of the East Coast Derby Extravaganza, is just the opportunity to see so many people from so many different places, the different teams that would come in, the officials crew, the announcers. It was definitely like an old home week.
I remember my first call at ECDX with you, and I was nervous because I'm sitting there, that's a little sarcasm. And I don't know if it was just your talent or your bow tie, but I think
probably
it was a
just the
combination
bow
of both.
tie. It's still just the bow tie. It's all I've got. It's all I've got. All right, so I want to say the first siege that we did, the audio broadcast when we were up in the announcer hot box there, we were using one particular computer for the Mixler setup, and all of a sudden the scoreboard screen went dead, and Wu came running up to me. I was like, I've got to take that computer.
Oh, no.
Sure. So he took the computer. We were able to get the scoreboard back up and running. And the nice thing was I already had the app on my phone, so I just kind of switched everything over. And basically for the rest of the weekend, we just did audio broadcast from my phone.
Calling on that cell phone.
Yeah. But it's just, you can be so prepared coming into a tournament, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Dark Pistol swinging the arms, just kind of bopping around the track, trying to stay warm.
warm.
You got it. It's getting a little chilly up in here.
It's like one of those instances where get some music going.
I'm just looking at Jane Ostentatious. Like I said, it's my first tournament, or first set of games I ever got to see her perform and see her in person. And I'm just like wondering if how long her legs are, because I think they go from my heels up to my head.
That's a picture. Yeah, I think you guys should probably
do
that.
The measurement.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make that official. Why guess about something like that when we've got the tools to tell the people the truth?
Speak the truth. And I just turn around and see the wonderful blue screen going out there. Can't tell what's going on there, but our awesome NSO crew all over it right now, pulling up every wire, putting everything together.
Projectors. Oh, so the word is the projector lost connection.
Oh, hi guns. You see me. You see me and you know me. I am Old Grim.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like we had some music up in here. We could just get a good old-fashioned timeout jam line dance party.
I mean, we could do that. Oh, our house announcers could absolutely do that. We had one time, was it with Mass Attack Roller Derby, DJ wasn't set up in time and we had to do rollouts. So I had this new young announcer, Fox and Docs there, who I gave her a mic and said, remember, it's only 2 words, boots and pants. And that's how she got her announcing name, Boots and Pants, because she went, boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots. And the teams rolled out to that.
Whatever works, right? All right, so I know that we probably have not announced all of the WFTDA recognized tournaments that are coming up, but let's throw out some ones that I don't think I've heard mentioned. K-Town Shakedown, April 26th through 28th out in Kalamazoo, Michigan, hosted by the Kalamazoo Derby Darlings. Put Up Your Toques, May 3rd through 5th at the Kitchener-Waterloo, in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, hosted by Tri-City Roller Derby. And of course the Big O, always on my bucket list, May 3rd through 5th, Eugene, Oregon, hosted by Emerald City Roller Girls.
And now our scoreboard is Japanese animation. I blame Majin Buu.
All right.
I'm seeing Providence doing some squats there. Nice backside of Jane.
We've transported to all different games.
Now we got the scoreboard for Slaughter Squad and Ithaca Suffragettes.
Sure.
It's an impromptu game that we're going to have here.
I did not get that roster. Can someone help me out?
All right, Jimmy the Grim, this is your job. Where are you? You have one job, sir. One job.
Or is this one of those instances where we're able to pick up the feed for future bouts, and this is just a bout that hasn't happened yet?
I told you, in like instant cassettes, instant bouts, future bouts already. And all right, Providence's team now filling up the track. Gonna go warm up, do some laps. We should go out there and make like we're about to high five all of them.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. A little boost of morale. Just to remind them, great job, good game. It looks like I see the awards table set up over there by the house announcers getting things ready.
How long we have? Go.
1,439 minutes and 35 seconds.
Whoa.
30 seconds.
Do I have time to go to the bathroom?
I need to be to work tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you're looking over at the awards there. I see the one for Sexiest Man in Production. I believe Chad wins that one.
Oh my God, every time. No contest.
We're getting ever so close to bringing it back. Well, now the scoreboard is at full screen. We still got about 1,439 minutes and 9 seconds to go until we start. Hope you're all having a great time. You got all your snacks ready to go.
But talking about some of the upcoming tournaments, 'cause it's always a good idea to get that out there. WFTDA recognized tournaments. Best Turns, June 7th through 9th in Denver, Colorado, hosted by Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. Midwest Brouhaha, May 31st through June 2nd in Milwaukee, hosted by Brew City Bruisers. Brew City coming up next to play what would have been the 7 o'clock game, but I'm sure will be a little bit later than that, against Appalachian.
And of course, now mentioned on our chat feed. Smash F5 until it works again. Here's the problem: we're missing the F5 key on the keyboard, so we've got to come up with a new problem. I know it's such a quick intermission in the middle of a half.
Watching from Foxwoods.
Yes, bet on black. Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. Bet on black. Always bet on black.
I just like to imagine that there's a bar in Foxwoods that's showing the game.
Up on the big screen.
Yeah, exactly.
They're showing it. They're showing it in all the bars at Foxwoods.
Have you tried turning it on and off again? Anytime I call IT, I always preface the conversation with, just want you to know I have turned it off and turned it back on. And it looks good. Except for Providence scored 88 points in the last jam. It must have been Flying King, because if there's anything I've learned this weekend, it's that.
88
Yeah.
jam versus 186 point jam.
Wow, my goodness.
That's gonna be a record.
I love the yay, that's brilliant Nerd Derby. I feel like that's what I've been saying all weekend long.
Stream it till it melts, unless it's a scoreboard and that dies first. Now thanks. Now I have like the IT crowd running through my head right now.
I like how everyone on the track is just like focused in on the scoreboard.
The scoreboard always dies first, yeah. Or the printer runs out of ink. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess there would be some people. Jim the Graham is like, well, as long as the announcers don't die first. But, you know, if you've got a great streaming product here like we've had all weekend, you can just watch the action and do your own commentary, if that should ever happen.
I've been in one of those situations. There's a lot of screaming in the house. I didn't care for. But now we are back to the action. Hip shot rocking the star for Antwerp. Jane Ostentatious for Providence.
All right, hip shot out, picking up lead for Antwerp.
that great strategy here. Thank you, Chad, for that awesome idea of turning the turn 4 camera right to the scoreboard.
You know, I would say that he's thinking outside the box, but he really just created a box.
Ah.
All right, Mila Lowlife being handed off the star, forcing the call off there from hip shot.
Now we get down to the 19 mark there. And I see a huge about the scoreboard there. Now looks like Majin Buu going to be coming up to the jam line against Flying King. 4 blockers out for Providence. And I've only seen 2, I believe, for Antwerp up there.
Yeah, it looks like there's 3. But you know what? However many blockers were out there, Boo doesn't care about them because quick work of the pack inside line picks up lead. The Flying Kings being pushed to the outside of turn 1.
Flying King now on the move. But already in pack 2 is Majin Buu racking up the 4 points, slamming that door shut on Flying King.
All right, so Monsoon putting the star on for the Riveters. 5 cut tracks under her star so far. 4 of them picked up in the first half alone.
Varla Guns chiming in on the chat. There's still hope. They go, yes, that's the motto of Rhode Island, hope. In the mix, Monsoon cuts through the center there and is going to get lead jam for Providence. There we got a forearm call on Oakley, and looks like Shreddy going to join Oakley in the penalty box. And also Rexy to the box. 3 blocks of the Providence and leaving Retro Rocket out there. But Monsoon playing it cool. Coming up against that tripod, goes out about, recycles back in really short. But it looks like that's Dr. G going to the box now.
Followed by Dark Pistol as well. So really just a completely full penalty box at this point.
And as it goes, trading 4 for 4 for points. Oakley now getting released from the box, joining up with Retro Rocket. Another 4 picked up by Providence. Pack now coming back together in the straightaway.
Monsoon with the lead jammer privilege.
Oop. Retro Rocket coming in on Titmouse there, and Monsoon had to hit the brakes before getting crushed. But Providence breaking it into the century mark, 2:10 to 116 minutes, 13 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's a 12-12 jam there. So it looks as though we've got 1 for Antwerp sitting in the box and 2 blockers standing for Providence. But imagine Shreddy's going to be released pretty quick since she came in around the same time as Oakley, who had previously been released. Multiplayer block now going to Antwerp. Middle low life being sent to the penalty box for a high block there, right against Boo.
Goldie with that lead. Swoops down. Rexy recycling back. Boo 2, turn 1. And now Antwerp's blocking comes into full effect. Goldie pushing like Sisyphus the rock up the big mountain.
Looks like Boo's going to make her way out of the turn 2.
Goldie tried to find it. Oakley on the inside, gets knocked to the infield. Shuts that down real quick, but able to pick up 4 points for Providence.
All right, so Providence 104. Antwerp 210. Just under 15 minutes left to go in the second half.
Yeah, Antwerp picking up no points on that jam. It's the first time in about 5 jams. And now Flying King out there with hip shot. Along with the lineup, it looks like Sparky, Oakley, Khan, and Boons. And out there you got Dr. G, Dark Pistol. Also being joined by, looks like Titmouse out there. And Flying King with the lead. 3 in a row for Providence, Aluna.
I don't know if they got 3 in a row in the first half.
No,
All
they
right,
didn't.
so this is the streakiest streak Providence has had.
The streaky if you ever could streak.
Exactly.
And a single point picked up by Flying King. So that's 2 back-to-back no-scoring jams for Antwerp. Providence coming back with a new fire. Monsoon up on the line. Waiting to see who is going to get called up by Antwerp. Both jammers looking to their coach. And no one from Antwerp out there because it looks like they're going to call official timeout for Antwerp.
All right, so this will be their second team timeout. They'll have 1 remaining and their official review, rather.
And once again, if you missed all the action here at Siege, you can get that replay. You're watching twitch.tv Nerd Derby. Subscribe to Nerd Derby and you can go back and check it. We already have the bouts up from yesterday because I know we were watching it in the hotel and just reliving the awesomeness of day 1 Siege of Central New York.
So good. So many great games.
Oh, no, I put it on mute if it's on any of my games. But no, I'll leave it off mute when I go and travel so my cat thinks I'm home.
That's genius.
All right, tricks him. He's looking around for me going, where's my cuddles? Timeout over. And I believe they're going to be bringing hip shot out right on the star for Antwerp. Once again, Monsoon back out there.
Penalty box empty.
Monsoon change position towards the inside line. Antwerp answering back with their blockers, lining up with that inside line. Hip shot again, trying to find that outside. And didn't have anyone to contest with, just got it stepped around. Retro Rocket gonna pick up an easy lead. Monsoon now cut through the center of the pack and able to get around. Gonna start working that initial pass. Pack still in 1. And hip shot, just a little push through, just gently gets through, picks up 4, slams that door shut on Providence.
Flying King up next Flying King holding the title of the highest scoring jam in a number of games this weekend. A big 26-point jam yesterday when Providence took on Appalachian.
Also, 20. Actually, I believe for this game too, still holds the biggest jam,
Yep.
20-point jam.
So hip shot's going to take it to the inside of one, pick up lead. Flying King.
Flying King.
One
Oh
to
my
beat.
God,
Yeah,
that
Dr.
juke.
G.
Oh, that juke and twist on the outside line by King.
This time, hip shot's going to take it low to the outside of the backstretch, calls it off, puts 4 points on the board, leaving Flying King. Right? Sorry. I was thinking of carbs, I guess.
Yeah, now I want Hawaiian pizza. You guys all suck. You keep mentioning food. I want food so badly.
All
Especially
right.
the awesome tomato pie of Rome, New York, which is
Oh,
always
yeah.
awesome. For those at home, that's bakery pizza or party pizza, but not here.
All right, so a Goldie with the low crouch there. And that formidable tripod from Antwerp waiting for her.
Same direction of gameplay. That's going to go on a block for Providence, but Middle Low Life confused there, but looks like she does have to report to the penalty box. That's what happens when you get multiple penalty calls happening at the same time in the back. Beautiful step over of the apex for Majin Buu. Picks up 4, going to put a halt to Goldie's initial pass. That's going to bring it out 11 minutes, 17 seconds, 2:18 and 1:05. Jane Ostentatious now coming as a steady jammer in the rotation. Kill shot coming back up to the line.
Just 2 blockers out there for Antwerp. We've got Knickmops and Cherry Mosh Pit sitting in the penalty box for the start of this jam. Titmouse and Dark Pistol, the only 2 blockers on the track for Antwerp, of course.
Great, I was going to say great block in there.
Yeah, and even with
by
4
Dark Pistol.
blockers out there from Providence, we still have Hip Shot picking up lead.
Dark Pistol is a very powerful, very strong blocker. And we're going to get a little JVJ here. Now, last time we saw Antwerp do this morning, it was to hold off until the pack came around initially. And as Killshot left the opposing jammer, her blockers came and knocked that jammer straight out of bounds. This not the case as the pack was in the straightaway. But we're going to have a scoreless jam. As Jane says, I'm going to bring you the fight. I will push you along.
All right, so Antwerp still a blocker down with Dark Pistol in the penalty box now. Monsoon taking on Boo.
Who?
Boo.
Who?
Boo.
Who?
Boo, who is lead jammer. Yeah, both of these back-to-back leads that have been picked up by Antwerp, really fantastic by the jammers because they've only got 2 blockers out there. So they're getting past all of Providence blockers, picking up lead and then calling it off in the last one there with Hip Shot just holding on to Providence's jammer.
Yeah, timeout being called by Providence, and that's at the 9-minute, 19-second mark. And once again, once we wrap up this game, we're going to have our Sunday night main event, Appalachian versus Brew City.
Lots of talk here on the feed about Hip Shot and Boo, and that was actually, does Hip Shot ever get tired? And the exclamation that Hip Shot is a machine. I did, in fact, ask Queen Yosine and Knick Mops if Hip Shot and Evil X were robots, and they confirmed my belief that they are robots.
I had suspicion Hip Shot was a Skrull, you know. But then again, I'm always suspicious after seeing that movie. But still out there having a good time. Even Providence having throwing some smiles. For Flying King having a little chat with Hip Shot as we have our timeout with Providence. Coach Hot Sauce and Lexi Lawless having a meeting along with Raquel Wilkes with the rest of the bench. Come up with a whole new kind of game strategy. But we're going to get right back to the action here, Aluda. Pack now lining up. See about 4 of Providence's finest out there with also 3 of Antwerp's best. And into the front of that pack, the Flying King trying to get to that opening. Providence blocker trying to recycle back to the front of the pack and put a catch onto Hip Shot. We'll have to let her go. Same direction and gameplay gonna go on Miller Lowlife. And working the initial pass, Flying King. Pack moving very quick into turn number 3. Kill shot now locking up. Doesn't just jump the apex, just jumped over Jane Ostentatious, which meant a lot of height had to go with that. Oh my goodness. And let's get a replay of that, please. You see Jane Ostentatious right on the inside here. Jane leaps clean over her as well. Wow.
And considering the fact that Hip Shot started on the outside of turn 4, cut in. So it really was just a straight line from where she came to the outside and then to pick up those 4 points and call it off.
Skates on an 18 but plays on a beeline, so to speak. And with that, Majin taking lead. Oakley rocking the star, doing the initial pass work. Oakley, your regular blocker, plays more of that blocker jammer, just comes through as a powerhouse. We have lost a lot of blockers to the penalty box here.
So it looks like 2 for Antwerp sitting. We've got 1 for Providence sitting, 1 for Providence standing.
Hip Shot coming back up. Goldie wearing that star for Providence, and looks like Majin got to report back to the bench, was in the inside line talking to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boom, who is going to call. They were about to take off, but an official timeout called right at the start there. Everyone's all excited now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was. There was a Lieutenant Savage standing over by the penalty box with 2 sitting in the box. I don't know if that was part of it, but it looks like we do see Lieutenant Savage heading up into the stands or leaving the track there.
Yeah, Savage did come into the second half with 4 penalties already, so one may only assume, but we do not know. But what we do know is out on the track, 2 blockers each for both these teams. That is Goldie wearing the star for Providence. Hip Shot for Antwerp. And again, finds that opening on the outside. But that is, I'm looking at the penalty call, high block. High block on Hip Shot. We have a power jam and lead jam now going to Goldie.
And it looks like, talk about a full penalty box. We've got Dark Pistol being sent there. And I may have been mistaken on the skater. I'm sorry. The Dark Pistol is still out there. But at one point, all 3 blockers for Antwerp there at the box. All right,
position.
so
Dark Pistol reports to the box now again.
It's just a matter of waiting for the queue to open up.
And nice tiptoe there by Goldie. Antwerp has such fast blockers. But yeah, Hip Shot had the star still off. Working initial pass. Goldie coming in. Nice little bump action from Sis and Rexy working as a team. Forcing the inside and a quick recycle of Hip Shot. Goldie also being forced back that by Titmouse. Goldie finally get that opening on the inside of the line there. Going to pick up additional 4. Same with Hip Shot. Looking, do we call it? and Coach Arsos is like, I'm telling you to call it. Oh, man. But yeah, great play, great opportunity of Providence capitalizing on that. And yes, Jetta, I will meow to her. I currently can't right now because if I tried to, I'll blow this headphone and Chad will strangle me with the cable.
Oh, well. Taking a quick look at the stats sheet there. had about a 6 or 7 jam run where Providence was held scoreless, and then they just came back with 12 points. Hip shot out in front, lead jam back to Antwerp. Flying King wearing the star for Providence has completed an initial pass. Hip shot coming into turn 2 to engage the pack. Makes pretty quick work of it and calls it off. 4 more points on the board for One Love Roller Dolls.
Focus of Providence now, as we're under that 5-8 mark, is just to narrow down that deficit and keep that spread as thin as possible between these two teams. Monsoon's going to be going out there with the star. Along that line, we have the pack of Shrey, Oakley, Rocket, and Rexy. Now getting a nice snug hug from Antwerp. Recycle back by Retro on hip shot. And getting into the mix there once again. Dark Pistol trying to break up the pack of Providence. And with that opening, Monsoon will take the lead. Hip shot finally able to get out. Pack now moving very quickly between turn 2 into the straightaway.
Looks like that was Retro Rocket coming up to play a little bit of offense for Monsoon. Broke things up a little bit, but it looks like Monsoon's going to get pushed to the outside of 3 and will call it off from the floor after picking up 2.
Thank you for joining us here on twitch.tv for Nerd Derby. You can catch all the action here. Don't forget to subscribe to Nerd Derby as well. Stay up on all the upcoming awesome tournaments that they will be around for. Quick timeout being called by Antwerp. And coach, yeah, all anchors coming out and telling Hip Shot to come back to the bench. Talk a little game as Gene Ostentatious at the jammer line for Providence.
It certainly has been a pleasure working with and being able to talk to the team from Antwerp. They came in Friday night all together. I got some great information from them. They were just so excited to be here, so happy to be here. And they've just like continued that positive attitude all weekend long. But you know, why not? When you're coming into the last game 2-0, it's a good place to be. The same thing for Providence. Providence, who was here last year at the Siege. So we'll see if we can make the third time a charm for them, get them back next year.
Don't worry. I'll push them into it.
Excellent. Great. Good.
Just so I can come back.
Right.
I don't need the excuse, but I can be like, yeah, I got to work with Providence. But there's a substitution on that line for Providence. Jane pulled off and King put in against Hip Shot.
Hip shot. Takes it to the inside. Quick work. Lead jammer goes to Antwerp. Flying King looks to make the apex there, but gets cut. Call.
Now we got that power jam for Antwerp.
I was going to say, that is only the second jammer penalty that's been given up by Providence this half. I know that there were 4 cut tracks given up by Monsoon in the first.
Yeah, King's first penalty in this game coming near the end there. Now it's all about wearing down that clock, spreading that score a little further along. We're now down 2 minutes, 32 seconds. Hip shot is a freaking machine.
Absolutely.
And it probably has the most intense cardio of all time, too. But, yeah, Flying King having none of that and working the initial pass. Wow.
All right, so we're coming into the 2-minute mark here. 12 points on the board from Hip Shot. It's going to bring Antwerp to 254. Providence at 120.
Flying King, that's where it was. If we look at this replay, here's was that apex jump attempt by King. Very interesting. Almost, well, from my view here, it looks like King landed that in. We just take a look here again. or maybe skated in a little bit before the jump.
That's what I was wondering, if it was something that happened before before they landed it. All right, hip shot out there once again. I'm gonna say that's at least the second jam that hip shot has been out there in a row. We've got Monsoon though, coming in, closing up that gap really quick. Hip shot calling it off in the middle of turn 1. Picks up just 1 point, coming into about a minute left to go on the period clock.
Yeah.
And it looks like hip shot's just staying out there once again. 6 in a row for hip shot. I'm tired.
Hip shot's gonna sleep so well tonight.
Yeah. Or win the after party. It's hard to know.
Yeah, we should never know. She is not human. And Goldie rocked the
All
star.
right, lead jammer, hip shot.
Woo! Come out with a fury. The pack still hasn't gotten past the pivot line. Find an opening on the outside. Miller tried to meet her. Able to swim through again. Another 4.
Coming in the last 20 seconds on the period clock. Hip shot already up 4 points. Approaches the pack here in turn 2. Swings her way around. Takes a little tug off a shirt there from her teammate. Puts 4 more points on the board. Looks like the bench coach, all anchors, just telling her, keep going, because that right there is Goldie's initial. Yeah. So hip shot looks over to the bench and he's like, all right, yeah, sure, call it. That's good. 12 points, that's good.
Let's wrap that one up. Our unofficial score right now, 271 for Antwerp, 120 for Providence. Still well played by both these teams here. Antwerp, as I mentioned, getting 3-0, sweeping Siege on their U.S. Tour 2019.
Man, I want to get the shirt with all the sights.
In the last 6 jams, 33 points picked up.
Yeah, so we're just getting some stats here from our incredible producer, Jim the Grim. All right, that rolling whistle will bring us the final score. Antwerp Roller Derby 1, Love Roller Dolls 271, Providence Roller Derby Rhode Island Riveters 120. What a fantastic game. Up next, we've got Appalachian versus Brew City to close out the weekend, and then we'll be doing the awards and MVPs. All right, so that should, yeah, we're good, yeah.